We're live right now. But we're going to make sure that it pops up. I think it takes just a couple minutes to pop up on Facebook. But um, welcome, everybody. My name is Amelie, and I am the host of the Celestic Intelligence podcast. And I also run the business Celestic Intelligence. And it is my honor and thrill to invite, is it Carin Andresen?
Yes, very
To
good.
the podcast. She has Face Yoga New Zealand. And what I love about our connection that we have here is that we are serving women and serving them in a big way. And so we're really going to be talking a lot about that and a little bit about how we came into our soul led businesses. And I want to hear her story. And so I'm really grateful to have you here. And I just want to give you the floor to introduce yourself and then we'll get started with questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here. It's wonderful. My name is Carin Andresen. As you said before, I'm originally from Germany. So that's probably why you can hear my accent. I was born and raised in Germany. And then when I was around 18, I traveled all around the world and finally ended up in New Zealand. So that's kind of my story, being really conservative and very structured and very Germanic, especially in that era. I was born in 65, and we were to be seen and not heard. So I just kind of broke out of that with my travel. And the beauty is, the older I got, the more confident I am, and the more I really truly feel my true essence and why I'm here on this earth and what I truly want to do moving forward.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. A couple of the things that you touched on just popped up in my head because it's just been a synchronicity this week, especially of that the generations before, like in the 40s, 50s, like carried this children are seen and not heard, you know, don't make any comments. And I think even some of that was kind of passed down to me. I remember, some of those things. I don't know if you've seen on reels where there's these moms with their children. They're probably,
Mm.
8 to 10 year olds, and they're like children. They're saying like all these things like, I I put you into this world, and then they have the children finish the line, and they're just going all of these tropes that were really installed into our nervous systems. And the terror I mean, the thing that I realized and why it was so big to me and why it's been such a huge message is because I had to face my fear of visibility, my fear of being seen. And when you're being programmed by from adults that you respect by saying children are seen and not heard,
Hmm.
mind yourself, behave yourself, like
Hmm.
there's I could see the merit behind it, but then I also see the toxic downloads that it's given us. So maybe we might want to just open that up a little bit.
Oh, definitely. I love to share that with you. Well, because I'm over 6 foot, and I had always great skin, long blonde hair when I was younger. I quickly learned that by being seen, that's kind of what I thought then I get my confidence. So I started modeling, I started being in a beauty therapy, and I just thought it's just the outside, right? If I look beautiful, then I'm heard. And of course, you're not. That's the shell, right? That's the shell, what we see initially, but not, it certainly doesn't give us the inner confidence. I didn't realize it then. So I did it yeah, I learned great to be seen, but still my inner self didn't really develop. And I think it really actually only did in my 40s, maybe 50s, when I discovered India, and I really looked inside of me what's really, really important. What do I want to do? Who am I? who am I truly? Am I, just what I've been formed to be? I was very good at discipline, structure, organization, on time. It's almost like I functioned really well, but the feelings were so far left behind. And so I'm so blessed and so grateful that now I can do that. I know who I am. I don't have to be liked by everyone, no one, vice versa. It's okay. It's fine. I truly want to be myself and want to, get magnetic with people that are aligned with me. And I do that not only in my private life, also my business life. So when I first started the business, I started to be so worried to get all the clients, everyone. It didn't matter who it was. And now it's really, if it's not the right fit, I don't want them. I don't want them in my world. I don't even really want their money. So that's how liberating is that. I
Oh
love
my
it.
God, so good. I mean, I think I've 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 had to, just in I'm in my 40s, so I'm kind of just coming into myself, and obviously it's been a long journey. It wasn't until I was like 29 where I really started to like feel the veils lifting. And it's not that I didn't have wisdom or I wasn't
Mhm.
smart or that I wasn't beautiful. I was all of those things, but the disconnection from self, sometimes I'll look back at pictures of me, back when I was younger, and I'm like, I'll just feel more beautiful now than I did then because I can feel this inner light just radiating out
Yes.
of me. And um, like, I would much rather have that. Not that I don't appreciate being beautiful or being smart or having wisdom or anything like that. Those are just extra add ons that are like probably even more valuable than looking beautiful.
Yeah.
But um, I look back at that and I'm like, I also look at it and I'm like, wow, I've come so far and standing in my own and really just loving who I became. It was a couple years ago, and I don't really like to admit it, but it's true. I was sitting in a courtyard with a girlfriend having a beer, and I looked at her and I was like, I realized this week that I don't love myself the way that I
Mm.
should.
Wow.
And she was like, she just like looked at me like, and how does that make you feel? And I
Mhm.
was like, well, it's pretty, it doesn't feel good,
Mhm.
like I'm the only one that's really in control and really operating this mechanism that I have.
Mhm.
And to see how much I had hurt myself by continuing trauma cycles, by continuing those painful feedback loops was it took my breath away a little bit. And it made me pause and
Mhm.
really reevaluate, how am I showing up for me?
Mhm.
And how am I going to change this story of I don't love myself to I choose and love myself so much that it just radiates out of me. So I don't
Mhm.
know if you have a similar story. Mine's a little
Oh,
ex-
no, 100%. Absolutely. I think we also spend so much time in the doing. We are so busy achieving and finding our self-worth by what kind of job we're doing and how much money we're going to make. And we forget that we are actually enough. And I've only learned that really the last 10 years of my life. I mean, I'm turning 60 in a few months, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's taken me all this time to have the old version of achieving, not thinking, not listening to so much to my inner self, to it's actually fine. It's okay. It's okay just letting go and breathe and to be. And so, no, so I totally know what you're saying. That's why India, I think, started my healing journey, just to be more in their spirituality and the wisdom they have, and then becoming, more into my facial yoga. It's about self-care, it's about touch, and really looking after yourself on a deeper level, with also some mindfulness, some breath work, some meditation, some affirmation. And they all help because it's repetition, right? It's repetition that we need to cultivate something new in our nervous system and in ourself. And yeah, that took a while, but it's, you can get there no matter how old you are. So you're never too old to pivot, right?
Absolutely. Earlier this year, maybe it was last year sometime, uh, I was reading a lot of autobiographies,
Mhm.
and I picked up an autobiography of Tina Turner. And so I'm sitting there and I'm reading her autobiography, and it's her story. And it came to where she became famous. And she was 45 in
Mhm.
the 80s when she was like a world renowned, you know, rock diva,
Mhm.
whatever we want to call her.
Yes.
Um, and so in the movies, like the Mad Max movies, she's playing this character. She's in her late 40s, during that time. And it made me think about the youth and my generation and the generation below me, of there's almost like there's kind of these little joke reels that I like to watch reels because I like to see what's trending and how
Mhm.
people are viewing themselves. I think it's a kind of a nice mirror to see, okay, what's going on out in the world. But
Mhm.
there's this one, and it's like they're like, I'm 30, and then they have this like creaky sound of like when they're standing up or sitting down, and I'm like, you're you're young, you're in your 30s, you shouldn't be like acting like you're 70-year old. But they're doing this, and it almost feeds into this lie that if you're not successful by the time that you're 30,
Mhm.
or you're not successful by the time that you're 40, and
Mhm.
whatever you determine that success will be, whether it's like culture driven or whether it's like family driven, wherever you're getting that message, then you're a failure
Mhm.
and you haven't made it. When in the exact, it's not even true. Like, you're not really full you're almost like not even fully actualized until you get into your 40s, until you get into your 50s, where there's so much beautiful confidence, like you said, and then
Mhm.
everything, because of that confidence, everything just kind of flows to you, and you're just like, oh, okay, like, I'm fine, like everything is good, everything is happening for me in the way that it needs to, and I had to like walk this walk to get here.
Yes. Yes, I think we all do, and that's why I often feel really sad when people say, "Oh, it's been," they stay in that toughness and in that bitterness of their journey. And yeah, sure, we all have things that happen in our lives, right? As we go through life, some more than others. And I believe it's really super important to acknowledge it and to feel it, but also to kind of say, what lesson am I learning out of this? Looking back and just saying, maybe if this wouldn't have happened to me, I wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like in the movie with Sliding Doors. And I truly believe in that, because I remember here based in New Zealand when we had those earthquakes, and it was very sad and tragic, and the inner city was like after war. I mean, no one really wanted to experience that. But a few years after that happened, I think it's happened 2010, 2011, so the inner city was destroyed. But by 2014, I kind of felt this will take still years to rebuild the city. I didn't have that much time. I wanted to do something else. So I packed up and moved over to Germany, to Berlin. I've never lived in Berlin, just with my suitcase, with my daughter. I did have money, but I didn't have a job. I didn't have a flat, and I was in my 50s. So what I'm saying, I would have probably never, ever done that if that wouldn't have happened. And what a journey that was. I spent 8 years there. I met incredible people. I worked for a really incredible, interesting company. And it grew me as a person because it was kind of almost like a new start. I then decided later on to come back to New Zealand. And it's another thing. But so what I'm saying, out of something negativity or tragic, so often something beautiful or interesting comes out of that. So, of course, it's hard and it's tough at the time and to live through that and see it and experience that. But afterwards, looking back, I'm just thinking I'm kind of grateful for everything that happened in my life, because otherwise I wouldn't be the person that I truly am now without going through any of it.
I really, I really resonate with that. And, I work with clients that have that same thing where, and I've been in that place too, where, you wouldn't have done something unless, there's kind of a push for you. And sometimes it does come in the form of like a catastrophic event, or maybe even just this deep inner awakening of like, you can't be in this loop anymore.
Hmm.
If you continue this, it's not going to be good.
Correct.
And I was meeting with a client, and um, part of me is just like, yeah, I remember my moment. There was a moment there. I mean, there's been several, but my recent one, my recent one is I had a moment it was December 1st, 2019. And I had bought a house, I had a car payment, I had the really nice career driven job where
Mm.
everybody looking on paper would be like, oh my gosh, you've got it all. You've got the
Mm.
degree and the diploma, and you've got the job and the house, like you're living the American dream. And I felt so empty.
Mm.
In my home relationship, it was like, it was horrifying. It was like
Mm.
every time I would go home, I would just like, I could feel the tension. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have to like get out of my car and walk into that house, and I don't know what I'm walking into. And
Mm.
then I would get to work and I could feel the release of that tension. I'm like, okay, at least at work, I can
Mm.
feel normal, which that I told my boss that, and she's like, that's not normal. And I was like, yeah, I know, but like, that's my life right now. And
Mm.
um, so basically, like, because of all of that pressure, like there was something inside of me that said, you cannot do this anymore. And so my
Mm.
mind kind of went like, I can't even with the relationship that I was in. I couldn't with the cycle of the job, and just kind of like living paycheck to paycheck and constantly feeling like you're going to drown. But
Mhm.
it wasn't anything like I had created that,
Mhm.
because we are creators. Like I created that scenario so that I could awaken to it. And I
Yes.
remember the moment where I was like, I was staring at the ceiling and it was nighttime, and December 1st, 2019, I remember that day, and I looked up at the ceiling and my partner had come in, and we'd been together for almost 10 years. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I think we
Mm.
need to live in separate places. And
Mm.
he did not take that very well. And it was a different type of breakup, because in that moment I was very conscious of making that decision. And
Mm.
like you said, there was a catastrophic something going on inside of my soul that if you don't get out of this, like you're going to be in danger, even
Yeah.
more so than you feel right now. So you need
Mm.
to, and I think that that push is sometimes what we need, because I think some of us find ourselves in these cycles, and it's very common, especially for women, to be like, oh, okay, I've sunk so much cost into this time, money, energy, into this relationship. Now I have a family and we have a house, and all the like list the things, and I don't want
Mhm.
to lose that, because then
Mhm.
everything is going. I'm going to look like a failure, and everything's going to be even more crappy on the other side. But as you said, that's not the case, because I got rid of all that stuff. I had to tear down an empire, and I got to travel. I got to meet new people. and really come into myself and find myself in a place where I could actually relax, which I
Hmm.
hadn't done for over a decade. It
Wow.
was crazy.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it's amazing what we kind of think is the right thing that we do, and also our loyalty and our commitment, because and habit that we think it's safe and comfortable, and so yeah, why change it? Why rock the boat?
Yep.
Classic. Why rock the boat? But really, really deep inside of you, you're not happy. You don't live your true life, the truth that who you really are, and that's yeah, it's scary, but it's
It
so
is.
liberating at the same time, right?
Yeah, and even though I like learned a huge lesson in that, I still like ran back to it because it was still comforting. And it was a
Mm,
different job, it was a different lifestyle, it was a different thing. But I ran back to it instead of pursuing my soul-led business, which was
mm,
calling to me, way back in 2021. It was like, you need to step up and do this. And I was like, almost like Jonah, like going and hiding, like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go hide away and do what is comfortable to me. But then,
mm,
even then, that was a shorter period of time where it was like, you can't do this anymore. Like, you're going
mm,
to stop. You're
mm,
not living it within alignment with who you are. And you know that. And
mm.
you do. You're like, it's like so obvious.
Yeah.
Um, I want to, you've mentioned a couple times about India, and I want to hear a little bit about, how you, like, what happened to get you there. And then, because you do face yoga, and I'm sure this is kind of related, and I want to hear, like, the journey of how you found yourself in India, and then maybe some of that transformation story.
Yes, yeah, I'm happy to share it. A good friend of mine suggested India because I've started practicing yoga in my 20s. And when I was, yeah, as I say, my late 40s, whatever, he said, oh, you should go to India where it originates from, yoga. And he said there's a place in southern India. They do a lot of yoga, a lot of meditation, a lot of enlightenment, and I think you really like it. And I thought, okay, I will do that. I will just explore it. And I remembered vividly the first time I went to India. The whole plane, once arrived there, was full of men, Indian men. There wasn't, I think there was one woman sitting there, Indian woman. I was the only European woman, blonde. And I thought, oh my God, what am I getting myself in for? Where am I going? Where I'm going to land? It was a little bit scary. And then I arrived at the place, I practiced yoga, I did some meditation, and I met truly the kindest, open people. And I just felt so at home. It was almost like, when you got the inner self saying, where have you been all your life? Why haven't I been here before? And it just so resonated with me, the way they looked at things. And in South India, there are a lot of different cultures all living together. They don't fight, they don't talk politics. There was just this incredible openness and kindness, and they were so helpful and supported me. So from this whole moment of this is really scary, what am I getting myself in for, to falling really into this place, like I feel so held, I feel so safe and so lovely. And facial yoga came later on. Facial yoga actually was in Berlin during COVID. There was a whole lockdown, and where you couldn't work, you could hardly leave the flat. And I was sitting there on the fifth floor of my apartment thinking, what do I really truly want moving forward? What do I want to do? And it was like, yes, I want to help and support women, especially over 40, to be the best version of themselves inside out naturally with the power of facial yoga, meditation, body yoga. And initially, when I looked at it, into it and saw all this on YouTube, all the facial exercises and massage techniques, I thought, I don't know if that works, if I like it, if that resonates. But the more I looked into it, the more sense it made to me. I mean, you're working with the muscles. We've got 58 facial muscles, but also combined with mindset and posture and breath work. Because if you haven't got a positive mindset, and if you angry and have a lot of negative thoughts all the time, how can you have a nice, firm, lifted looking face, and an open chest? So it's about allowing good things coming into you as well as the skincare. Yeah, exactly. So all of that. And yeah, and the more I learned and the more I explored, and I'm constantly reading things and learning. I mean, it's a process, right? You do your certification, and I've done my certification, and then you kind of go like, oh, what else is out there? And a lot of homemade recipes for the skin and the mask, hydrating things you can do in the comfort of your own home. Most of the stuff you have in the fridge without spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on really expensive things. I don't believe that's necessary to have healthy, good looking, glowing skin. So at any age. So that really combination, and the more, as I say, I spent time in India, and I was then back in New Zealand. I've done all my courses, all my certification. The more it resonated with me, because we can't stop aging, but we can stop the way we feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to do about it. We can really do that. And so, and I just want to be the best version of myself, at any age. And so that's what I'm practicing. So I'm preaching that to myself. And that's how I can help other women moving forward.
Well, you do look gorgeous. Your skin is glowing. I really like that. Um, One of the things that popped out to me is like we both have this like, okay, what are we doing in our lives around the same time? And that story resonates across the globe, because I think if you kind of dial back and look at what happened, like the world went on pause. And that is a very feminine thing, is like pausing, leaning back, and trying to figure out, like, you just like let things come to you. And it's almost like that creativity. We had to like really harness that within ourselves and figure out creatively, how am I going to express myself? What am I going to fill my life with right now, since everything else is kind of like shut down, and I'm centered here in my home, or I was traveling. You can't keep me down. Like, I was just a little bird. I actually traveled more during COVID than I think I ever had in my whole life. I drove across the country a couple times. I was out. As soon as I left that job, as soon as I sold my house, as soon as I left that relationship, I was like a bird. I'm out. So I think I traveled way more during COVID than I did any other time, and it was like I needed that, because I was in this prison that I had created all on my own for
Yeah.
so many years. And as soon as that happened, I was like, I am out. I'm going. And it was it was an interesting time, because that wasn't a common thing for people to go out and do. Like, a lot of people were just staying home, and you did see this like kind of separation. It's almost like your during that time, who you were was like expanded.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were depressed, you almost got more depressed. Or if you were like, I want to be a free spirit, like, you were a free spirit. Um, and so I really enjoy that. Is that when you went? So when did you go to India?
I'm just trying to think. So I was in Berlin 2014 to 2022. So yeah, I went to India a few years later. So I think COVID and probably some other events, obviously the earthquakes here and some other tragic trauma, triggered me to change, triggered me to be what I really truly want to go. So it was a little bit later after Berlin. I think the first time I went to India was 2017, maybe. But all of that was in going together, what I really want to do. So earthquakes, stood still, helped repairing the city for a few years, then moving to Berlin with my daughter, no job, no house, nothing. So just starting brand new. Then then India, the experience, the heartwarming experience, then COVID, going again in what do I really, truly, truly want to do for the rest of my life? Where do I see myself? Who do I want to help? Who do I want to support? What is my purpose on this earth apart from trying to be the best version of myself and having surrounded by amazing friends and family? So what can I give? It's receiving, but it's also giving for me. And because the more you give, the more you receive, right? And
Mm-hmm.
if you connect with the right people and the right woman, and if that's kind of become true, more and true yourself and more aligned, then things will come into your world. The right people, you attract the right people, and you connect with the right people. And that's such a beautiful journey that so you can't really, it's hard to describe, but I think you know what I'm saying. The more true you are to yourself, the more you stay in yourself, the more you attract incredible people.
Absolutely. Um, I want to get more into the mindset part of it, but I'm going to pop your website up on to the screen. What is your website?
Oh, thank you. Faceyoga.co.nz, www.faceyoga.co.nz.
Oh, face yoga
Yoga
dot.
co.nz.
Okay. Are you able to see the chat? Does that look right?
Yep, perfect.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yep.
No problem. So it'll pop up on the screen if you guys want to go on to the site. And I want to talk a little bit about what a session typically looks like, what your most popular session is, and what people um, find the most rewarding and can continue coming back to you for.
My session, I've got a program. It's 6 weeks. That's my high ticket program. Or if you just want to see if facial yoga is the right fit for you, you can start with 30 to 40 minutes. Sort of that's a try. We talk about your daily habits. We talk about water intake and nutrition, and a little bit about mindset, and together with some exercises and massage techniques. And then the middle one is in 90 minutes, where every client gets also my beautiful neem revival serum, which comes from the Indian neem tree, which has got natural antibacterial properties, hydrating, soothing, together with rose geranium and lavender. So they get it in my 90 minutes program and in my 6 weeks program. My session always starts with meditation, with mindset, some beautiful music to really feel grounded, and gently close your eyes so you just see what's going on inside of you. Because if you're rushing from somewhere inside and straight away getting into some exercises, facial exercises or body exercises, you're not really that present. So I always want to start with that. And often it's not in every session, it's one affirmation, different affirmation. So to really see, ground them and set the tone for the session. And then, as I say, I've got a pre-questionnaire that gives me a lot about information before we even start, that my clients fill out. So I'm very well prepped before they even arrived to our session. And then we just do some exercises and massage techniques throughout the session. And then I finish off again with closing your eyes and just see if anything feels different, if anything shifted. Yeah, so that's basically
So I
it.
noticed that as I'm getting older, like this part here is like kind of droopy. I probably need to do some do some workout on my face.
Yeah.
But like what is your like ideal client that you're attracting and that would resonate with this message?
It's women 40 onwards, although I had 3 of my clients were a lot younger. They wanted to prevent and not, which I thought was amazing, was really sweet. They were in their 20s, lovely, lovely girls. And they said, well, we want it for later in our lives when we need it and when we want to learn some new techniques. But often there are women 40 plus that are also in busy jobs. They feel stressed. They start not feeling being seen that much. They are exactly what you mentioned before, the jawline, often with stress and tension, all our emotions are shown in our faces, right? And the jawline, often when you've got a tight jaw, you've got a tight hip, and there's a lot of tension and grinding can happen at night. So in facial yoga, you're basically working with the muscle and not just, we all know by now that moisturizer alone will not make a difference, right? But if you're having a deeper workout, it's almost like going to the gym for your face, then you can actually make some changes. It takes time and it takes consistency. It's not a quick facelift. So people, that's another thing, I just want to make sure I have the right person. If someone says, I don't want any more wrinkles in 3 or 4 weeks, and I say, sorry, I can't help you. This is not the right fit. I'm not the right person for you. It doesn't work like that. So I'm very, very open and very honest because I want people to leave me and be happy, and just have great results. And that's far, far more important to me than just signing up another client and taking some more money. So it's got to be realistic.
I love facials. They're probably it's top 3 for sure is a facial, and the massaging of the face is like one of my favorite parts. And somebody had mentioned the reason why you like that is there's so many nerve endings in your face. And so do
Yes.
clients express to you like, man, that feels so good. Like I feel so relaxed.
So often. So often. Yeah, there are a lot of acupressure points I work with as well. For example, if you've got issues with your sinuses, it's beside your nostril, and you just press those quite firmly, then with hay fever, that can help. So that's the beauty of facial yoga. It's just so much more than just getting rid of some fine lines or lifting the skin. It goes deep.
I love that. Now I'm thinking about facials. Good.
Well,
I
you can do that in the comfort of your own home, right?
Yeah.
Facials are amazing, but I've got so many homemade recipes as well you can do, and it's still beautiful. Don't get me wrong, facials is amazing when
Mhm.
someone touches you, but you can actually do a lot yourself, with the right movements, the right techniques, the right exercises, and it doesn't take that long, even 5 minutes every day while you put your moisturizer on in the morning and at night. You can do something. So you can incorporate it with other things you're already
Yeah,
doing.
and the consistency you were saying, like that
Yes.
is very important because, things if a muscle isn't worked out, it's going to atrophy. And so that's when you start to see the sinking of the face. This is just it's baby. No, just kidding. It's not baby fat. It's my cortisol fat. And I'm working on that. But we don't realize like those things that are sinking, and so many people will pay so much money to go and just get a quick fix,
Yes.
and it doesn't really resolve it even then. And we look at these celebrities who like have
Mhm.
millions of dollars to throw at their bodies, and sculpt and do all kinds of stuff. And a lot of the, like, we look at that and we're like, okay, that's beauty. And the thing I like about what you're doing is you're still aging gracefully,
Mm,
but you're like adding this kind of buffer to what it could look
mm,
like, because I don't know if you've seen them, and of course I'm going to talk about reels again, but there will be reels where, like, the Golden Girls, they were all in their 40s and
mm.
50s, and you look at them and you're like, oh man, they look really old to our standards today,
Yes.
because of all of the technological developments, of all of the, you know, beauty standards that we have, a lot of the things that we can do to kind of, I don't want to say catfish, but like change our appearance and generally just look younger, because we have all of these tools at our disposal to make us be able to do that. Um, and it's like I was saying earlier, I look at pictures of me when I was younger, and I actually feel more beautiful today than I did
Mm,
then, even though, like, I didn't have all of this. Like, I had a beautiful model looking face, and you know before children, and all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
So it's really nice to find healthy
Mm,
things that you can do. Like, even there's like hit workouts, like facial hit workouts, where you put,
mm, mm.
kids call it mogging
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
mewing, but
Mewing.
yeah,
Mm,
and it like
mhm.
mogging is mewing, but it's like you're doing it constantly, mogging.
Right. Right.
Kids are so funny. I have a 12-year-old, that's why I know these things. But
Yes.
um but like, they're actually like, that is really funny, because it really is like a good workout for your face,
Mm,
because you're really working those muscles to get
mhm,
that chin line in line.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so it's funny to see like how things like that will trend, but there's like so much relevance behind it too. Just, I don't know if you're
Yes.
humored by the generation.
Oh, 100%. Yes, definitely. But it's also, I just want to come back what you said before, you think you sort of, or you feel more beautiful. And that's truly why you're radiating, probably, I would say most definitely from the inside out, because you're more at home at yourself. You feel happier. And that's what I mean. That's why I structured any of my classes like that. It's so, so important to look what's really going on inside of me. Because if we're super stressed, if we got a bad mindset, if we negative thoughts, if we sad, you can't look beautiful. You can do all the facial yoga in the world, you can do all the exercises, everything. It's not going to get the same results. It's like you want to lose weight and dieting, sugar, you're eating too much sugar, junk food, it doesn't work. So everything I kind of do, it's all together, it's all aligned, because only then you get the best possible results. Otherwise you don't. And it is important to do that. And I'm always saying that, because the face really starts with the shoulders, and people say, what do you mean my shoulders? Well, my shoulders not part of my face. Yes, kind of is. When your shoulders are super tight and super tense, and you always have your shoulders around your ears, and you're so stressed, so everything goes down. So if you open and up and radiate and open up, then of course, you're more relaxed, and everything feels better. And when things feel better, they look better. They, they're just better in general.
That reminds me of lobsters, and it's going to be kind of random, but it'll make sense. So, when Jordan Peterson kind of came out early on, I was listening to him, and he would talk about like how lobsters would communicate with each other,
Yes.
and the ones that were like top lobster, they they would like walk around with, they had this really open, so the posture was like super important, and they would so anytime like I'm walking around, I'm like, I really think about my posture of like, how am I presenting? Am I presenting like I'm
Mhm.
scared and cowardly, or am I presenting like, you know, I'm confident and
Mm.
maybe not so approachable, so just match my confidence if you're going to approach me, kind of mentality. Because, like you said, you want to have this confidence as a boundary for you and to protect your energy. Like you said, like, I'm not going to take on certain clients that aren't going to meet the criteria of who I
Yes.
want to work with because I'm protecting my energy. And so you do want to have this, you don't want to be shrinking. You want to have this like beautiful, open, confident energy of and just be able to kind of like watch life go by instead of the that, oh my gosh, I'm in fear, and then you look
Mhm.
like a predator, a prey animal, and then people will start taking from you because they know that they can. They're gonna pull from the weak. So
Mm.
I really love that you like blend mindset into this. Not just having a facial workout and it's like, oh, okay, we're just gonna get it when
Mm.
we're gonna come in and do all the work. It's like a
Mm.
nice centering,
Yes.
and we're thinking about posture and really just cutting into the body, which is
Mhm.
what I do in my work. In my
Mm.
work, I'm looking at the age of AI and technology as this, catalyst that kind of help to disconnect us from ourselves. Not that
Mm.
technology isn't beautiful. I mean, we're meeting right now across the world
Yeah.
in different time zones. I mean, you're from the future
Yep.
and I'm meeting with you, and so there is this like really nice beauty about technology. But then there's also like, if we're too plugged into the technology, into the AI, and we forget to replug into ourselves, um, my motto right now is the counterbalance to AI is EI, emotional intelligence, because it's what
Mhm.
I teach, and that's, I'm sure you're teaching some pieces of that. I'm just like a little bit more maybe analytical and structured about it. Like, you need to learn that emotional intelligence, but
Mhm.
um, we get so disconnected, and that's where the that woman comes in, where she's got stress and just holding it in her body. And like I said, at that moment, I had a moment where I was like, if I don't change something right now, I'm not going to make it any further. Like,
Mm.
things are going downhill physically. They'll go downhill really quickly because my body is already telling me, get
Mhm.
out. My
Mhm.
body is already telling me enough, and throwing the red flag and all
Yep.
the things. And I think we forget how much technology can pull us in, and how much we forget that we need to plug into ourselves because of all of this stuff. We're like managing
Mm.
multiple softwares at work. We're managing our social life on,
Mhm.
the phone. We're
Mhm.
e-commercing. So we're just constantly plugged in
Mhm.
outside of ourselves, and we're not plugging in. So I really love that you're blending this mindfulness, the mindset,
Mhm.
the workouts, and really just giving the woman a space to really just sit and feel into her field, because
Yes.
that's the pause that we need. That's like
Hun-
the relaxation and rejuvenation we need.
The reset, yeah, and the beauty is you can do that in the comfort of your own home.
Hmm.
I've got clients just before this interview, a beautiful client came to my house, because she lives in the same city. And I don't have a studio. I don't need, it's not about that. It's about connecting, in my living area. And you can have light, beautiful candles, and I've got some nice aromatherapy. So therefore, that's something you can create. And yeah, so I just see that in the back of you. So it doesn't take much, and a nice some water or warm tea on and things like that. So this is all part of it. Feeling, have a nice surrounding, and it doesn't have to be super professional. It doesn't, you can create that so easily, and I love that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Um, well, I know that we've been going for a while. Are there any other things that you want to mention outside of the
If
yoga?
if women are curious and not quite sure if they want to commit to it and just want to chat, I offer a free discovery call, no obligation. I just, yeah. So if you just want to test it and find out more and see if I can help them and whatever they're struggling with. So that's something. And as I say, on my website is really all my free programs and it says a lot. But if they just want to chat or anything, I'm just here for that. I'm here to
Awesome.
support and to
And
help.
the website will help them get there.
Yes.
Okay. And we have Karen. I'm going to pop it back up here. So faceyoga.co.nz
And that.
and
Yeah.
NZ.
Yeah. Well done.
And
Yeah. Yeah. There it is.
my Americanism is coming out.
Yep, I'll
um,
just put my glasses on. It's 100% right. So there's all my connection. There's my social media. And as I say, I offer a free discovery call to see if
uh,
it's the right fit.
yeah, awesome. Um, I want to say thank you. And I thank
Thank
you
you.
not just for meeting with me, but for performing this service for women because, it's really important that I was kind of going off about it earlier today, I think on Facebook, that we find out what our purpose is, what's going to fulfill us, what the big why at the end of our life, like what did I do? What was my big contribution to people? What was my, what can I say my service was?
Mhm.
Um, and somebody put it like, what is your moonshot, like what big event do you have going on, like what big dream do you have, what vision do you have that's going to amplify your life and make you feel whole inside
Mhm.
and not be like me where I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm just in this little race wheel. But you're living and thriving in who you are. So I want to say thank you to you for that too, because I think we forget about how many people are out there not living their dream and
Mhm.
listening to what their gifts are and sharing that with the world. So, a big
Mhm.
thank you there for being of
Thank
service to
you.
the women. And I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
I'm curious about some face yogas. I might have to do a discovery call.
Oh, well, you know how we can connect and
Yep.
let's be in touch. Thank you. This is
It's
lovely to
been
connect.
such a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yep.
You
Take
too.
care.
Take
Bye.
care. Thank you. Bye.